Good morning, it's Andy with Mountain Computers. It is Tuesday. It is June 11th. And I'm sitting down this morning. That's about right. Oh yeah. Cup of coffee, very good. It says, I never thought I'd be such a cool uncle, and yet here I am. Thank you so much to, I don't know who the manufacturer of this cup is. Could be Zazzle, who knows. I want to talk to you today about being a business owner, a vice president, a C-level executive in companies and organizations. I've been a CTO, I've been a chief operating officer, I've been a vice president, I've been a business owner 3 times over, vice president 2 or 3 times over. And I can tell you one thing, it doesn't matter what your title is, as long as you're doing what you love. That's the most important thing. I had a video that talked about how to hire business owners. That was about a month ago. And this is a follow-up. Because what is it like to be in the life? What's the day in the life of being an executive, a vice president, a director, whatever? And, you don't get those questions at an interview. Yet, is it complicated? No, not really. Top of mind, I can tell you right now. Is it hard to be a leader? No. Do people look up to you? Yes. Do people like you? They should. So what is it like to be in the life and the day of an executive or something like that? Well, if you're born into it, expectations might not be that high. They're probably saying, oh, you were born into it, that's sort of expected. You'll get a pass. But if you grew into it and you, went through the school of hard knocks to get there, and you're an inventor, creator, designer, problem solver, troubleshooter, leader, people person, communicator, marketing, financial, creative, engineer type, you sort of wear lots of hats. Yet sometimes an employer or somebody in an organization might only want you to do, 1 or 2 things in that box, in that square box. And I can tell you right now, without a doubt, variety is the spice of life. Nobody likes to be bored to death at work. Nobody likes to go to work and go, oh God, I hate being here. When you go to work, first of all, it's a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege to help people. It's a privilege to work for a company. It's a privilege to be given the trust to do something and get it done, and then the satisfaction of being rewarded in so many different ways. There's a lady on LinkedIn, Linda McLean, yesterday. She was asking about what does it take to satisfy your team. I mean, basically she posted something, and I was thinking about that, and I posted in a link about my conversation in high potential employees. I had a 2-part series video a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and it was based on a Forbes article. And the Forbes guy, he was, I don't think, old enough to really know better, but, at least he took a stab at it. He tried to explain it. He'll grow in time, his wisdom. Some of us are born more wise than others. Some of us are born more lucky than others. But, so what is it like to be in the life? I mean, if I was to describe from beginning to end of the day, what was it like to be a vice president? Or a director? Or business owners? Well, the first thing you do on the start of the day is get up early. If you have family, take care of your family, love your family, enjoy your family as much as possible. Because they may drive away and you won't see them again. There's lots of sad stories about, the last words you say to somebody, maybe the last words you say to somebody. So memorize that moment if you have family or a spouse or a loved one, and just really focus in on and appreciate that moment right when they're leaving to run errands, to go to work, or whatever. So the life in the day of an executive or being a human being is to appreciate the people in your life. And so how does the day start for me in work? Well, first thing I do is I think about what I did the day before and what I slept on, and not really worried. I don't think worry is a good word. I think is to um, contemplate yesterday's successes and needs that need to happen today. You know, new businesses that you started working with, or new employees, or change of staff, or projects, or what have you. But to take a moment and just think about yesterday. And then, as far as an executive goes, you should have a dashboard of mental dashboard, or a physical dashboard for that matter. I mean, we had physical dashboards at Microsoft and other places. I created most of the dashboards, or they were created for us by other executives, chief operating officers, CIOs, whatever. They like metrics, qualitative, quantitative. For me, I always reconcile daily my books. If you don't have a handle on your books, on your checkbook, on your balances, on your debt, it's important to, first thing, make sure that everything that settled yesterday or posted yesterday actually settled. If you're a business owner, that's good. Just log into your bank accounts, log into your investment accounts and see where the market is, see where your investments are going, get an understanding of that. When it comes down to your resources that you have, make sure that every one of them is firing on all cylinders. Now, if the market's going crazy and your investments are sort of going crazy, that's fine. You know, weather out the storm. Consider whether or not you change gears. So the first thing in the day is think about yesterday, contemplate what you succeeded and need to finish today. Be thankful for the people that are going to help you and you get to help. Look at your financials, look at your resources that are around you. If you're a farmer, you know, how many cows do you have? I mean, count your head. If you're a computer guy like me, how many computers do you have to finish building today? How many parts do you have to make sure that are being ordered or installed today? How many customers are going to pick up today? How many people are going to drop off today? How many clients are you going to visit today? As a vice president, I always had metrics and monitoring on all servers, networks, analysis, trending, you know, spikes in data, spikes in activities overnight, and nothing that you got alerted to. Make sure backups are in place. If you're a leader, make sure that the people that are reporting to you have a handle on that. And say good morning to them. That's important. If you have other leaders and peers with you, make sure that if you have board meetings and meetings like that, that everybody's prepared mentally, as well as everything, all their ducks are in a row. If there's a conference call, make sure your conference call, all your technology that's supporting your conference call, if you're international and you got time zones, different people in different time zones, make sure that you ping and reach out to those to say, hey, are you guys still on board for, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever. I mean, it is about, you don't want a day full of meetings unless they're actually meetings with action items and voting and decision making. What else? Projects. You got to be working on projects. Half your day is projects. The other half of the day is work. Maybe, and we always used to have an hour of research. When I worked at Microsoft, in an 8-9 hour day, you had 1 hour dedicated to research on what you wanted to do. Our management and staff always were allowed that. And it was always something that was interesting to you, would help you become a better person, an employee, and it fell in line with the company and the goals and stuff like that. It didn't always have to be like something, it could be like learning a foreign language. It didn't have to be specifically directly related to your work, but directly related to the company. If your company is international, you should be learning a language of your customers and clients that are international. Learning another language is always something. I mean, I've been trying to learn 3 or 4 different languages for a couple of years. Conversationally, I'm okay, but I wish I could be better. And if I plan on traveling, I want to, beef up my languages and politeness and courtesy and social skills. That's important. What else? Life and day. So at 8 o'clock, you go in, or you remote in, or you conference call in, and you check to make sure everything's working. There's no major fires to put out. No legal issues, no risk issues, no OSHA, no safety issues. Walk around management style, which I love, allows me to walk around the entire place with, like I did in my store this morning. I walked around the entire place, look to see if there's any issues, you know, any capital, repairs, any capital needs. What else? As the day goes on, have lunch. Definitely, have a late lunch, early lunch. Don't have a lunch at all. It doesn't matter. Most of the VPs that I knew only worked like 4 or 5 hours a day, and then they were off-site at meetings doing strategic team building with other vendors, other peers in other industries, organizations, associations, professional groups. That's important. Do that. Make sure you stay connected on a daily basis. If you have Twitter, social accounts, check those out. Like yesterday, I had 4 videos that went out, and this morning I posted them. I waited overnight. I reposted them this morning. On Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. A lot of the companies that I work with, they have some of that going on. Some of them are good. Some of them are overkill. Some of them are hit and miss. It just depends on who the marketing and the PR person is for that organization. What else? End of the day. Oh, as far as projects go, if you're in information technology, like me, you should be inside a development console, a reporting console, a SQL console, some sort of even an Amazon instance. You should be on your servers at least an hour, maybe 2 a day, inside your network stuff, application stuff, database stuff, working with your development teams, working with your product teams, working with your marketing teams, working with your financial teams, looking at your debt, interest swaps, debt adjustments, creative finance stuff, reporting, compliance. One other thing you have to always think about is your strategic alliances with other companies. Always have your company ready for an M&A, merger and acquisition. Look at relocating your business for better pricing. Looking at your capital stuff. Not every day, but it should be on your horizon. Whether or not you're an outsource or insource, I did a video on RIFs, reduction in force. Whether or not you're in a profit or a cost center. In leadership and management, you're really not. You're an essential component. Now, not all managers and supervisors and directors are necessary. You can have a thin, lean management group. You don't have to be over, what do you call it? One major organization here in Reno is top heavy. They're an insurance company. They're a little top heavy, I think. But maybe that's for strategic building purposes. It's temporary, it's not forever. But it does add burden to the top. But, I don't know. Somebody strategically is thinking about this. Either that or they got a ton of cash to burn or something. What else? I think that's about it. Internationally, I always think globalization. Understand government influence on your business, taxation, understand compliance, industry trends. If you're a VP, you should understand your industry trends all the time. Always keep your ear. Bill Gates used to read 20, 30 magazines a day. That's bogus. I think it's more like he skimmed 20 to 30 magazines a day. But like me, I skim maybe 5, 7 periodicals. I'm always scanning the horizon, checking the news out in all industries, in all facets, because my field, information technology, information, is all over the place. What else? How do you end the day? With a great thanks. Go visit your family. Don't skip dinner. Break bread with your family. You don't need to text them all day long. I got stepkids. Don't worry about them. They're fine. Absence and silence makes the heart grow fonder. But if they text you, make sure you respond. Don't blow them off. If they get mad at you or get mad at your spouse, that's okay. That's life. Kids get mad at various reasons. Adults do the same thing. They get bent out of shape about something. Don't worry about it. Sometimes just acknowledging that somebody's upset about something, you can't help them other than to acknowledge that. And, it's empathy, but sometimes adults can be 4-year-olds. And 4-year-olds can be adults. What else? If you work for a major corporation, Do you worry about your perception that much? How people perceive you? It's important. Dress nice. Dress appropriately. Dress relaxed. Dress approachable. Open door policy. Keep your door open. Unless you need to close it for a reason and think and concentrate, which is very rare. Say thank you, please. Do a follow-up note. Do old school stuff. Take a break, walk around. I knew some GMs that were really aloof, snotty. They didn't like me because I was more a people person, but I could get things done. They'd take all day and I'd take an hour. They'd be like, we don't like you. It's okay. I wasn't competing. They're competing. Or they feel threatened by somebody half their age. I don't know. It's all part of a team. Be a team player. That's important. Be a team player. I don't know. Work on your book. Make sure you're writing. Make sure you're sketching. You're being creative. There's a logical side to your brain, and there's a creative side to your brain. There's a spiritual side. There's a faith side to you. You know, reach inside, dig it out. You know, sometimes they say just dig it out. And, you know, what if today was your last day? And here I am explaining, you know, how to be a great leader at any level. I don't know. Should I post this? Yeah, why not? Maybe in 20, 30 years I'll look back and go, yeah, I was pretty close to how I am then as I am now, and how I am now as I was back then. Just didn't have a video camera and a green screen and nice jacket and a cup of coffee. So anyhow, this is Andy from Mountain Computers. When it comes to banking, do your banking. Have multiple bank accounts. Make sure that if you're an executive, that you understand the growth, the financials, the reports. Understand, if you're a publicly held company, you understand all of the publicly posted financial documents. Go into Edgar, look at your K1s, look at all your Q stuff, look at your P&L, you know, understand that. I was told once as an IT guy, that's none of my business, just do your job. Wait a minute, I'm a vice president of support and operations. I need to know my burden. I need to know what my staff costs are. I need to know what my capital costs are. You know, I'm talking to the accountant and bookkeepers and saying, you know, I'm going to do some contracts. How's that going to affect the bottom line? I think that's wrong. I think everybody has a mutual need to understand the financials of the company. Otherwise, we all might be out of a job tomorrow and nobody knows, nobody's paying attention to the bottom line, let alone the profit, you know, the revenue, the cash flow. You know, make sure that they're not, you know, like I said, a profit center or a cost center. I always knew 6 months in advance if there was going to be a reorganization, whether or not my team was going to be affected. Everybody gets affected somehow. But definitely, if you know in advance, it's appropriate to plan ahead, tell your team, just hint, you know. I was once told that we were going to fire like 300 people and don't say anything. How do you not say something? Well, you don't. But you do actually adjust your schedule a little bit to plan. And when it comes as a surprise to everybody, they're like, do you knew? And I go, yeah, unfortunately I did. And it's okay. Part of my team was safe, part of them had to move on. But as one door closes, another one opens. Same for me. Nobody is immune. Everybody's expendable. So as a vice president or a director or a business owner, you know, you're one lawsuit away from being out of business. But, you know, just don't be doing stupid stuff. Don't be saying stupid stuff. There can be people who make up stuff about you. You know, I've had false accusations, false allegations against me. People who've stacked the deck against me behind my back. So, as an executive, you are a target. Have I ever targeted executives or vice presidents or directors because I was mad or something? No. That's just bad karma. Do an inventory in your head from A to Z. of where everything is in the company. And make sure that all the other leaders know you, know your style, know your hot buttons, know your values. Understand your team. I know some people that was at Microsoft that I thought they were really good, but the executives thought they weren't very good. That's because the executives were not cutthroat enough, hard enough. And they left. But that's okay. That's why some of these major corporations are in major lawsuits, because they just bring on board bad people with bad ethics. At the end of the day, you want to do goodwill. You want to do good things, good karma, work in good faith, have good contracts. Don't do contracts if you don't want to do a contract. Do a contract if you need to do a contract. Understand the terms of your contracts that you're signing as an executive, that you're coming on board. If you're bringing on another company or working with another company, understand your team's culture and their culture. Have regular orientation meetings between the organizations and the vendor account management, the vendors, the contract managers, revenue, APAR. Know all those people. Know them. What's important is you need to know what AP cycles are for other companies. Sometimes AP cycles for other companies are once a month. So you darn well better have your invoices in before the cutoff date for the AP cycle. That accounts payable cycle is important. I've known hospitals that have a cutoff date, and if they don't tell you and you don't ask, you won't get paid for another month. And that could be a cash flow problem. So understand if there's a cutoff date. People who get paid, they want to know what is payday. If they get paid on Friday, direct deposit, great. If it's not until Monday, that might affect their weekend. So, what else? I think that's about it. This is Andy from Mountain Computers. This is just a short session on, I guess, executive level thinking, the life and times of an executive, a vice president. I know some other people, vloggers, they talk about how rich they are and how much money they made. I got $1 million. What does it feel like? I've been there. Everybody at some point in time in their life is going to have gone through $1 million. Some might still have it. Some might have less. Some might be rebuilding. So do good stuff. Work on some great projects. I think it's also important is I work with other clients that are super busy, so it's hard to get on their schedule and agenda to know how you can help them. Sometimes as long as they know everything's working fine, they really don't want to hear from you. But you should just say, hey, is everything good? Is there anything we can do better? If I'm not talking to my customers or my clients, somebody else might be. That's the old saying. If you're not taking care of them, somebody else will. So you don't want to be a nuisance, but you definitely want to be shown that you're working on things, that you're coming up with great new ideas, you're coming up with great new opportunities for the company to excel. If the company wants to grow, great. Let everybody know we're putting on our thinking caps. We're thinking about growing. Well, is this an exercise, is this a test, or is this real? Well, it's a little of both. So don't be afraid of course, setting people's expectations is very important. That's very important, is to level people's expectations. Some people don't like change. Some people like stability, predictability. In relationships, that's good too. If you make plans to do something, keep your promise. If you plan to do something, keep your promise. If you say you're going to do something, keep your promise. And if you have to change your mind, work into it, warm them up, soften them. If it's a hard change, say, man, I got something coming up didn't expect this one coming. I got some bad news for you, or this might sound a little harsh, or sometimes if it's employee relations, it really comes down to just saying, is everything okay? Is it just me? Because everybody has senses. So use your senses and your instincts. Don't make up stuff. Your imagination is one thing, But senses are a different thing. If you have senses and you're worried about things, speak up, plan ahead, you know, protect yourself, but at the same time, have a great life, have a great time. Don't kill yourself in college and school. That's not the beginning and that's not the end. If you're a lifelong student and learner, like most leaders should be, there'll be examples, there'll be mentors and coaches. Some of them, I think are a little bit over the top. They're like way too type A, way too out there. But I guess somebody's got to be. Fine, they can be cheerleaders. I know some guys that are real big-time cheerleaders. That's great. Are they overcompensating for something that they're weak on? I don't know. Or they're just weird. I know a couple that I've worked with, I'm like, wow. But hey, they make me grin and smile, and I remember them, so I guess that's the good thing. So, this is Andy from Mountain Computers. It's Tuesday. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, and share. Okay? So, there's more to come. Have a great day. Bye-bye.